The Secrets of Doctor Who is brought to you by the Star Quest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. You're listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who, episode 209.
One day, I shall come back.
That's it. I've been renewed.
Is when a Time Lord's body wears out, he regenerates.
I'm a Time Lord. I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity.
Braveheart team.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding.
Physician healers.
Wearing a bit thin.
Fantastic.
I am Scottish. I can complain about things.
Ooh. Should be fine.
Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Doctor Who, where we discuss everything about the hit BBC series, Doctor Who. And today we're discussing the first Doctor story, The Feast of Stephen. And joining me today on the panel are Jimmy Aiken. Hi, Jimmy.
Merry Christmas, Dom.
Merry Christmas. And Father Cory, Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas.
So as you all know, this is our Christmas episode. Every year most years we've done a Christmas special episode, whether it's the actual Christmas episode of a new series, a new season, or when there isn't a new season, we'll look at a Christmas special from last year we did Big Finish, or I think we did last year Big Finish. Yeah. But we've done Big Finish, we've done other Doctors. And this one, we're going to the very first sort of Christmas special.
It is. It's a Christmas special.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's true. It is true. So this is an episode the first Doctor Who episode to ever air on Christmas Day. This is the first Doctor, and it was Christmas of 1965. And it was in the middle of a 12-part serial called The Daleks Master Plan.
Which is actually sort of a 13-part serial because it had a detached cold open that none of the main cast appeared in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Which has been reproduced, by the way. Yeah, they actually recreated. They completely refilmed it about beginning of the year, way back, long before everything
prehistory.
happened.
Yeah.
Before the dark times began.
Exactly.
Yes. It was by a university in Britain. We talked about it once before, I think, on the show.
This Feast of Stephen, it was a good idea. We kind of looking back, because you said they're in the middle of this very long story arc. Very intense, very dark story arc. And then you have this little one-off, which is, frankly, a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching this one. This is just great. Refreshing, shall we say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the detached cold open episode is called Mission to the Unknown, and it was the first, and I think it may be the only Doctor Who episode in which none of the main cast appear.
Right.
And it set up a situation that would then be paid off in the 12-part series, The Daleks Master Plan, which is set in the 40th century. So it's it's 2,000 years after the Dalek invasion of Earth, where the Doctor dropped off Susan. And the Daleks plan to, attack the solar system and use a device called a time destructor, which is dependent on some unobtainium that is going to get mentioned in this episode. They need the unobtainium to do it. And there's a council of galactic guardians who are from all these different alien races, and they look really cool. They really made an effort to make, even though they're all humanoid mostly, they made an effort to make them look non-human. And the Daleks are also plotting with Mavic Chen, the guardian of the solar system. And the series features the return of the meddling monk. So it's his second appearance. And it also has the highest body count for companions ever.
Right.
2 companions die during the course of the Daleks Master Plan. The first is Katerina, who is a girl from the Trojan War that has just got introduced right before this. And the character regarded the Doctor as a god and the TARDIS as a celestial temple. And what I've read is that they didn't think the character was working. That unlike some characters from the past who work well with the Doctor, like Jamie, Katerina wasn't working out, and so she sacrificed herself to save the Doctor. She got airlocked deliberately. She was spaced.
Wow.
But she did it saving the Doctor. And then the other companion who dies is Sarah Kingdom, who we meet in this episode. Sarah is one of the Doctor's two companions in this. The other is Stephen. Stephen is a space pilot from about the 24th century. Sarah Kingdom is a member of the Space Security Service from the 40th century. So she's a native of the time. She also is a very efficient security agent, and she is ruthless when it's called for. In fact, she kills her brother on the orders of Mavic Chen, and her brother is another security agent played by the same actor who plays Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. So,
right, yes.
Before he's in that role, yeah.
Okay.
But Sarah is on the side of good, and she ends up also getting taken out by the Time Destructor in the end. But we're not there yet. She's still got a lot of life in her, and she and Stephen are accompanying the Doctor.
So most of this serial is missing. The films, the reels are missing. And what we watched was reconstructed in animation, and there's various versions online. I watched one that was on YouTube. I think it was a fan animation, and there are others out there. Make sure you get the whole thing. It's going to be 24 minutes long. There are some that are, for some reason, truncated. And
it also ends with the Doctor breaking the fourth wall and toasting Happy Christmas to the audience. So that's the one you want to watch. I watched a version that was reconstructed from telesnaps with a little additional minimal animation. Father, what did you watch?
I watched the same one, the one that you sent us a link to. That's the one I watched.
Yeah.
And by the way, if Sarah Kingdom looked familiar, she was played by Jean Marsh.
Yeah.
Who pops up all over the place. I mean, she's one of these actresses. If you watched anything from Britain, you've seen her probably.
Right.
She was Richard the Lionheart's sister in The Crusade. I think that was second season, if I remember right. Doctor Who. Morgaine in Battlefield in the 7th Doctor time. And she even was in Adventure in Space and Time. She was just one of the party guests, kind of mingling around in that.
Nice.
But she's an actress that, of course, has been in Upstairs, Downstairs, and all kinds of other things. And was also married to a doctor.
Yes.
She was married to John Pertwee.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was one of the co-creator, producer types of Upstairs, Downstairs, and she played the lady's maid Rose on that series.
She's still alive, and she's still doing Big Finish as Sarah Kingdom.
Kingdom, yeah.
Wow, cool. So the title, The Feast of Stephen, I noted as we were talking about this when we were preparing, is that they misspelled Stephen, because Stephen, for the eponymous Stephen from the Bible, is usually spelled Stephen. Well, that's because this refers to Stephen Taylor, the companion. So it's a little joke there. And this was the whole point behind putting this Christmas interlude in the middle of the Daleks master plan is they figured, the powers that be at the BBC figured, no one's going to be watching Doctor Who on Christmas Day, back in 1965, before they did this sort of thing. So we needed something that we could just, throw in there that no one would have to miss an episode. There were no VCRs, so you wouldn't miss the story continuation. And
also, if anybody is watching Doctor Who on Christmas Day, they don't want something dark.
Yes.
Right. They could have done what soap operas do, which is just slow the plot down, laddie, slow the plot down. Hey, slow the plot down. But they didn't. They didn't want just dark plotting or a dark story where nothing really happens for Christmas. So they wanted a light comedy instead, and that's what they did.
Let's be honest. Doctor Who at this time, slowing the plot down would have basically slowed it to still frame.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that's notable about this is it was the first Doctor Who story that was junked by the BBC. That was because back in the day, in the first and second Doctor's time, they would reuse or just throw out the film reels because because they didn't need, they didn't think anyone would care about them. They're just so ephemeral. And because they aired on Christmas Day in the UK, they figured, well, none of the overseas BBC clients in the Commonwealth wanted a Christmas episode in March or February when they would get it. So they just didn't bother, and they just threw it away. They threw away the 16 millimeter black and white film, they didn't make a 16 millimeter. That's what they usually sent overseas.
Right.
So they just got rid of the videotape. But it is the only part of this whole Daleks Master Plan serial that has telesnaps. And apparently they were done by one of the actors in this. So one of the guys who was in this episode, who was not a regular telesnap guy, did it. It was a very interesting. Robert Jewell, who played the Bing Crosby at the end of this. We'll get to that, how Bing Crosby sort of shows up in this one. He did the telesnaps.
Among others.
Yes. And also, as we mentioned, it's the first Doctor Who, and I think the only Doctor Who so far that has the Doctor or any character breaking the fourth wall and directly addressing the viewers at home. So it's notable in that.
I believe that's the part that survives.
Yes.
So they played that on Blue Peter, I think.
Oh, right. So it was in something else that survived. So let's talk about this episode itself, because it's not. It is a romp. It is a classic comedic romp. Just all kinds of silliness and fun things go on. It starts with the TARDIS landing in 1960. So it's departed from the 40th century.
Well, 1965.
Yep.
Is it 65? It's okay. I saw something that said 1960, but it might have been 1965. Which is it's not. It's from the era in which the show airs. So that's the important part. And it is funny that the Doctor's they're not quite sure where they are. The scanner is broken. And so the Doctor thinks that they're on some poisonous planet where you cannot survive outside. Only the Doctor could possibly survive because he's used to such things. Well, it's polluted, smoggy London in 1965, basically.
Yeah. I like how Sarah, as a new companion, doesn't fully know how the TARDIS works yet, because she says, I think something's wrong, and notes the central console has stopped going up and down.
Yeah, right.
They have to explain to her that means we've landed.
Yep. Right.
But she does know enough to be able to fix the scanner by herself when she gets the chance.
Yes, that's right. She's a capable female companion, which you sometimes got in the 60s.
Oh yeah, she's not just a capable female companion; she's a capable female action companion.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, she's handy with a gun and with martial arts and all kinds of. She's like a less futuristic version of Leela, if I can put it that way.
Okay. Yeah. They've materialized outside a police station in London in what looks like a police box, and there's a group of policemen there who are suspicious of its sudden appearance.
In part because you don't need to put a police box right across from a police station. That's the function of police boxes is to serve as mini little remote police stations.
Right.
Exactly.
But they accept it because, it's something odd, but we have to fit it into our worldview, so it must be okay that it's here. So the Doctor has decided that he's going to go distract the police so that Stephen can climb up on top of the TARDIS and fix the scanner. The scanner is the light on the top of the TARDIS. That's essentially what the light is. And so the Doctor ends up getting arrested or detained by the police. He's handcuffed. I mean, I suppose that's arrested. And he's taken inside. And there is this moment where he recognizes a man who's inside the station making a complaint about rebels moving his greenhouse.
Yeah, this is a comedic character they've introduced here. I suspect, although I haven't been able to verify, that this is based on some kind of cultural gag that was around at the time, that there was maybe a British comedian who had a routine like this.
Okay.
But it's this random guy. He showed up at the police station and he's flummoxing the police by complaining to them in an accent that is not their accent about how his greenhouse has disappeared and rebels have taken it again. And on a show like this, I mean, we've got a blue box that disappears regularly, but a greenhouse that disappears is something else. And so it's just kind of a non sequitur. And really, so this episode is in 2 acts. The first act is at the police station, and it's the slower of the 2 acts. So they're really just chewing up time here. It's meant to be lightly amusing. The show won't really kick into high gear until Act 2.
Yep. Yes.
But yeah, you're right, Dom. The Doctor says something, and I think this is part of the joke about, I think I've seen you before, and he alludes to Jaffa, seeing him in Jaffa.
that part, I know what that refers to. This
Mm-hmm.
actor was in the first Doctor story, The Crusade, that Father Cory
right,
just
yeah.
mentioned. And so, which is about King Richard and Crusade. So he's referring to, you look a lot like someone I met in Jaffa, and it's the same actor, which Doctor Who likes to do. Like, in fact, they really went far with this, with the 12th Doctor, of course, with Peter Capaldi recognizing his own face from,
from Rome.
From Pompeii. Sorry.
Pompeii,
Yeah.
Could not get
Roman.
the word out. So, meanwhile, Stephen is sneaking about outside, and he's near the back of a police car and notices I think it's a police car. It's a car, anyway.
Yeah.
He sees a police
car.
uniform. Okay. The animation I was looking at did not make it clearly a police car. So he sees a police uniform in the back of it and puts it on. And then afterward, he'll get mistaken for the new guy sent over from Division G Division, and he goes with it so that he can fit in.
And the reason he dons the police costume is so he can infiltrate the police station and help the Doctor.
Right. He saw the Doctor get arrested. So the Doctor, meanwhile, is telling the policeman that he's an alien, and of course they think
He doesn't say extraterrestrial. He says, they think he's British at first because of his accent, and he's like, oh, no. I'm from much farther away than that. Scottish? No. Welsh? No. I'm a citizen of the universe, you might say.
Yes.
Yeah.
They find that to be a little odd, and
and of course, knowing the time too, that sounds very hippie-ish.
Yes,
Kind
it
of about
does.
the point of
It
the hippies.
does.
Well, we're not citizens. We're citizens of the universe, man.
Yeah, that does sound a bit like something out of the mid '60s. So they think he's a crazy old man, basically, at this point.
And they therefore remand him to the custody of Stephen, who says he's well known in Division G and he'll take care of him.
Right. Meanwhile, Sarah has come out of the TARDIS, and she's trying to tell the policeman that she has to fix the scanner, and he has no idea what she's talking about. And he says, "Well, it's Christmas. We're supposed to be lenient toward disruptive folks. So why don't you just move along, and we'll forget that I ever had to talk to you."
And he thinks that she's going to a party, a fancy dress party, because of her space security suit that she's wearing.
Right.
Which is, kind of dark and military looking and a little weird, kind of a little bit of a space Nazi vibe, but without the swastikas and stuff. And so she pretends to leave, and he's another 60s thing is he tells her, have a swinging time.
Yeah. And she's confused because she's got nowhere to go. Like I came from inside the box.
Yeah. Also, in this sequence, we hear periodically snatches of Christmas carols being sung by children in the background who are apparently out caroling on the streets.
Right. One of the reasons the policeman thought the Doctor was crazy, because he actually tells them that the blue box is not a police box; it is a machine for investigating time and relative dimensions in space. Yep. And that's when they think he's a nutter. So
he tells them it's a TARDIS, and they don't believe him.
Yeah.
Notice he does use the plural, relative dimensions in space.
That's right. So at the time that Stephen, by the way, is taking custody of the Doctor, he calls him old man, and the Doctor, much to the Doctor's consternation, "Don't you call me old man?" He does not like Stephen pointing that out. As the Doctor and Stephen get to the TARDIS, though, the policeman who has been outside has grabbed Sarah, who was climbing on top of the police box to fix the scanner. And so we have this sort of melee of some sort where she gets free, everyone gets inside, and it dematerializes in front of the policeman, who is now thoroughly confused about what's going on and is left standing there. And that's the end of Act 1.
Act 2.
Yes.
Now things start happening.
Now we get more fun.
Yes. So they materialize, as far as we can tell, inside a sawmill, where a man is trying to strap a woman to the saw, the classic where the gets sawn in half sort of thing. Stephen runs out and tackles the guy, but it turns out they're on a film set in Hollywood in the early 20th century. Yeah, the
20s-ish.
1921 is what the TARDIS data core says for this, though I don't think they established that on screen. The Doctor does note the atmosphere is less polluted now.
Right.
So there's a reason why you have a screaming woman being strapped to a buzzsaw, just like in all those silent melodramas, because they're filming a silent melodrama.
Right. These are the silent film era.
It's kind of interesting too, because we think of the silent film era as like way back when, the world was in black and white. But there's a lot of people who had been watching this that it would have been living memory for them. They would have remembered the silent movies, and so it probably was pretty interesting, probably nostalgic for them to go back. And actually, they pull in like the slideshows, like the title slides, title cards.
Yes, that's one thing they start doing is they start having these title cards in between the scenes of meanwhile, back on the set. Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the Shakes tent.
Yeah. Right. So what happens? So the director on this Sawmill set thinks that they've been sent by Cecil B. DeMille to sabotage him. I think that was a nice little touch. Stephen and Sarah have run off. The director, his name is Green. He's wants them to be chased, but not to punish them. He wants Stephen to replace his leading man, his actor, who Stephen has punched in the eye, now has this big bruiser. And he's like, this guy's even better than my actor.
He says will be bigger than Fairbanks, meaning Douglas Fairbanks. And that sets off a fear on the part of the woman being strapped to the buzzsaw.
Yes.
Because she's afraid that if the previous leading man is now being replaced by Stephen, she might be replaced by Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And he might want to make Sarah the new Mary Pickford.
Right. And meanwhile, speaking of famous actors, the Doctor and Stephen end up running into Charlie Chaplin at wardrobe. Yep. So he comes out. Sarah has got separated from them, and she's on the set of a film set in the Arabian Desert where Green now shows up, the director, and interrupts, and the other director named Knopf is irate at them for interrupting his filming. It's funny to listen because these are silent films, the actors don't have to have fake Arabian accents. And so the actor who's playing the Sheikh has this I think Brooklyn accent or something, and it's very disconcerting. And you think about it, I never thought about that.
And let's be honest, all these accents are pretty bad American accents. These are not.
Oh yeah,
these are obviously not American actors they brought over for this.
No.
You should, Dom. You should watch the musical "Singing in the Rain" because it's about the transition from the silent era to the talkie era, and the discongruity between what the audiences imagined the actors sounding like and what they actually sounded like is an enormous plot point in Singing in the Rain.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah. That is yes. that we don't think about that transition, but that is a big. It'll be like when we transition to holograms, I guess. Holodeck movies. So meanwhile, Stephen, still in his police uniform, is mistaken for being an actor in a Keystone Cops movie and is dragged away to be in a Keystone Cops scene, which. If you don't know the Keystone Cops, they were
slapstick comedy involving the police, filmed by a company called Keystone, hence the Keystone Cops.
Right, and it involved a lot of crazy crashes and accidents and people being bad. Basically, a YouTube video. So
I was going to say it's a lot like the Three Stooges, only really sped up fast.
Yes. So, meanwhile, the Doctor is mistaken for this Dr. Webster, who's supposed to be an expert on Arab culture, for Knopf's movie that's set in a sheik's tent. And he immediately goes along with it. And he even spouts an Arabic phrase, and is willing to be the expert on Arab culture.
They bring him in to advise, and, they had been filming a love scene between the sheikh and some woman, and he's making, promises, I'm going to take you on my camel and, we'll fly away together and stuff.
Right.
And when the Doctor sees the woman, he immediately says, you put on some more clothes, child.
Yes, he does. And he does, meanwhile, find Sarah hiding on the set. She was hiding in a box. The funny thing is Knopf, the director on this set, keeps seeing her in the background and says, she's wearing too many clothes.
She's part of the harem.
Some of those clothes.
Well, he says, you're in the harem scene. Go get ready for the harem scene.
Right. So you have the dueling sensibilities there. They're finally all reunited outside the wardrobe, and they head back to the Sawmill set, where the director's like we mentioned, trying to calm down his actress. I'm not trying to replace you. He does spot the Doctor and the others sneaking onto the set, and another chase ensues.
In fact, the Doctor's line is, "Let's go back to the TARDIS. This is a madhouse. It's full of Arabs." Like, okay.
Yeah, a little politically incorrect by 21st century standards. The Doctor trying to get into the TARDIS, but there's this dejected comedian leaning against it who bends his ear, talking about how Chaplin has done everything and there's no room for another comic actor, so he'd switch to singing, but who will ever listen to a singer named Bing Crosby? And yes, so that's who this guy is supposed to be, is Bing Crosby.
And it's the first time the Doctor has interacted with someone from the real world played by an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's not actually Bing Crosby, but an actor playing Bing Crosby. Finally, everyone gets back into the TARDIS, which takes off, and everyone on the movie set is amazed at the illusion. Wow, what amazing special effects. And then back in the TARDIS, the Doctor brings out drinks to Sarah and Stephen because they need to celebrate, because back in 1965 it was Christmas, and so, happy Christmas. And he turns to the camera and wishes a happy Christmas to all the viewers at home as well. And that's where we end.
I wonder if that's that bottle of brandy that we saw in the 12th Doctor, First Doctor crossover Christmas.
Oh,
special.
Right.
That never got touched. That the First Doctor was upset because there was this much gone after how many thousands of years.
Yes. The evaporation will take care of some of that. So that's how it ends, with a Merry Christmas from the Doctor. So any final thoughts on this one, guys? Father Cory?
It's just a fun, silly romp. And again, you could see that this would have been a great palate cleanser in the middle of the whole Dalek Master Plan story arc.
Yes.
I thought it was a lot more fun running around a movie set doing slapstick comedy than running through corridors ordinarily is.
Yes, that's right. And I should point out that we will be coming back to look at the Dalek Master Plan in its entirety at a later point as we get to it in our regular rotation of First Doctor stories. But we wanted to take a break and do this Feast of Stephen right here. So that's the Feast of Stephen, and we should wrap things up here. We want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Doctor Who, including Julia C., Kimberly W., Joel D., Christopher L., and Carrie C. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Doctor Who and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. We'd also like to thank Victor Lambs, who edits the show for us every week. So that's it from us. Did you get a chance to watch The Feast of Stephen? Let us know what you think of it. You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com or the Secrets of Doctor Who Facebook page, or send an email to doctorwho@sqpn.com. And by the way, I'll put a link to the couple versions of the Feast of Stephen that we watched online, so you can check it out for yourself. We'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the brand new 13th Doctor story, the New Year's special called Revolution of the Daleks. Until then, Father Cory Stika, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Doctor Who.
Thank you, Dom, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Jimmy Aiken, thank you as well.
Thank you, Dom, and happy Christmas to all of you at home.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Doctor Who on StarQuest, and Merry Christmas.
Here we are. What's this? Well, we so rarely get a chance to celebrate, but this time we must.
Celebrate?
Yes. It's Christmas. Don't you remember the police station, Christmas?
So it was, yes.
Here's a toast. A happy Christmas to all of us.
Same to you, Doctor. Sir.
Incidentally, a happy Christmas to all of you at home.
Right. This is going to be fun.